Hey guys, and welcome to today's First Impressions video, the video game series in which we look at a recently released game and I give you my first thoughts and impressions on it. Today we're looking at Godsbane, which is very much a deck builder of sorts. It reminds me a bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! In the stylized way that you play the monsters as opposed to just playing cards. As always, we'll take a look through the options and the different things that you can do in the game before we get into the meat of the gameplay itself. But I want to preface this by saying that the biggest drawback to this game is the fact that at the minute it seems like there's nobody actually playing it, which is a shame because it is pretty fun. As always, we'll start with the options, so let's get straight into it. Okay, so straight off the bat, the options do not look amazing. There's not a lot here. I would like to see a lot more graphic options considering the fact that the game actually looks pretty damn good. Whilst it might not be that much of a strain on most systems, again, accessibility is important. So all you get is your resolution, quality, screen mode, frame rate, and vertical sync. That is pretty much it for graphics. Your audio, there's nothing amazingly special here, and then language options as well. Could do to add a few more bits to this just to neaten it up and, again, just make it more accessible for lower end machines. You also have the ability for a profile mode. Now, there's only one way that I've seen of getting a title so far, and that's by putting in-game currency into it. I don't know how you unlock more titles, but I'm assuming it would be by playing ranked matches or casual matches. Again, the only problem with this is, at the minute, there is nobody else playing. So this profile page isn't really going to change much, although it's kind of cool that it's here. A few more customization options to the profile would be nice. Maybe a different background here, or, you know, just something that you could change to really make it feel like your own. There is, like most of these games, lots of microtransactions. You've got a couple of different currencies to go through. You can get the ultimate value bundle to get you started for $4.99. Although, honestly, at this point, again, with nobody else playing it, I wouldn't really recommend that. Getting some units and stuff is fair, but you can very easily get these units just by playing casual modes, etc. You've got your divine trials, which gives you some bits and pieces. It is nice that they do allow you to get these with in-game currency as opposed to having to spend real money, but it is a bit concerning the fact that there is already some microtransactions in a game like this when it's only just released. Although there really isn't much here either, so I don't know if they're planning to add on this or not. Okay, this is your collection and or your deck building section. It shows you the units you've got that you can then add to the draft so that you can start using them in your decks. It looks like you get 4 draft shots, and then you've got your forward assault, which is your base deck. It shows you your units that you've got in each one and the powers that you have available to you. It's pretty cool. Like, I like the fact that they are sort of like tokens. They remind me a lot of like Warhammer sort of thing, as opposed to being actual cards that you would just play. Like, they've got their own personalities, they've got their own animations. Looks really cool. And then lastly, you have crafting. Now, this is what you would do if you don't want to spend money on the sort of starting bundles and stuff. As you can see, each item or each unit or icon or whatever you want to call it can be crafted. It shows you the mana cost here, and if you hover over it, it shows you the information about said unit. And then down here, you've got your in-game cost to get it. Now, I don't really understand what makes one worth more than the other. I'm assuming it's a rarity thing. But you've got different factions that you can go from as well. And it seems like 750 per unit is the sort of most expensive you're going to get. Certain fractions look to be a bit cheaper, like these ones are all 100, 150, etc. But again, the biggest problem with this is that at the minute you're not going to be able to get any of these because there's nobody playing the game. I was sat in a queue for 3 or 4 minutes before I actually got bored and came out of it and just played the single player. So there's potential here, but the fact that it's locked behind having to play in a versus mode is a little bit disappointing. I played the single player earlier and didn't get anything for it. I won the match, but you don't get anything because it's against AI. Maybe having even if it is just a lower amount, giving you something for playing against the AI until more people are playing, in my opinion, would be the best way forward for this. But it's nice to know that you have got a lot of units to choose from, so that you can really mix and match your decks to work well with each other, strengths and weaknesses, etc. Alright, so this is how the game plays out. You have your board here, you've got a lot of squares that you can use, you've got your person, and you've got the enemy you're going. It's very simple, straightforward. You both start with 50 health. You are only able to put 5 units down on the field, and to me this is a massive drawback of the game. You've got all this space here where you could have an all-out battle, but you're limited to 5 units and 5 units only. And honestly, a lot of it takes part in the second half of the screen, because your units will always run over to theirs. So it feels like a bit of a waste, in my opinion, of a lot of screen space and a lot of cool things. Like, I want to have an all-out war. If I've got the mana, I want to put them down. But the way it works is that once you've put 5 units down, you have to start selling them in order to make them sort of viable if you want to change them out for a better unit or whatever. The second problem I've got with this is it is technically an auto battler, which means you've got to just let them do their thing. And the first round takes arguably the longest ever. The rounds after that, because you start putting more and more units down, they actually get much quicker and the pacing improves. But this first round goes on for so long, and there's nothing you can do until it's over. It gets quite boring and a bit dull. However, once that first round is finished, the animations for how much damage you deal and, you know, all the other cool stuff, and it shows you your victory and stuff like that, is pretty damn awesome. I'm a big fan. The problem is that it takes a little longer. The other problem is that you only get 2 moves to sort of move some of your units where you want them to go to start taking on certain people. So you can only move 2 at a time. But again, once you've got all 5 units on the ground, it doesn't really matter because they're going to be where you want them anyway. So it just feels a bit pointless. All in all, the game looks great, it plays really well, it's very smooth, but it feels shallow. It feels like there could have been so much more that they could do. It feels like it just doesn't feel finished, if that makes sense. It feels like there is so much more that needs to be added to this game to make it fun, essentially. Now, I am only playing on easy to demonstrate how it works, but it gives you a pretty good idea. Now, if there is people that start playing this, and if there is more that develops over time and you get a competitive scene, then I can see it being very interesting. And, you know, there'll be chances to earn the in-game currency, so you can unlock all of the characters, so you can see how they all interact with each other. But honestly, it feels like whoever wins the first and second rounds is going to win the game, and there's nothing really you can do about it. But there you are. That's Godsbane. It's pretty fun on the surface, not great for long lengths of time, and the biggest problem that the game sort of has right now is that a lot of the content is locked behind PvP, and there is nobody playing the game. So let me know in those comments down below what you think, if this is something you would pick up, and thank you very much for watching, guys. I shall see you all next time. Ciao, ciao.